Ojawan as the senior special assistant on special duties. The appointment of the Ado-Ekiti born media practitioner and politician came days after the inauguration of Governor Oyebanji. As one of us, we want to say, Oja, congratulations. Babajide. Ojawan was one of our directors upstairs.
Yes, he directed this program so many
Journalist Hangout. At any point in time, when Oja is on duty, 5 minutes to 5, when he just says something on the microphone, I say Ojawan. I'm Oji too, and Ojawan.
And because he's a political animal.
He's always in Ado-Ekiti.
He's a political animal. He will tell you, look, this is what is going on, this is what will happen. And he will always tell you the truth. People don't know that some people sometimes will profit from the information at their disposal. So one of us who is very, very politically inclined,
close to the grassroots.
Yes.
Very close to the grassroots.
Now he's been rewarded, his efforts have been rewarded. And to think that he almost lost his life
senior
last
special
year.
Assistant on special duties. Yes.
He almost lost his life last year.
Yeah. Yes, he had that accident.
Yes, he had a very serious accident in which people died. Now this must surely lift his spirit. And he's a very active person on social media. He's very useful in so many ways. And we congratulate him.
And we thank Governor Oyebanji and Abayomi Oyebanji for even bringing back one of our own too. That's Yinka Oyebode.
Yes.
CPS.
Yes, Oyebode will eventually become the longest serving chief press secretary in Nigeria. At the rate he's going.
Yes,
because
great guy.
Oyebanji's boss considered him useful.
Yes.
Gave him the job. Now, one of the first appointments that he made as governor was to return.
Yinka started as the CPS to Mrs. Fayemi, from Mrs. Fayemi to.
It's a born CPS. Yes. Born CPS.
Congratulations to these guys.
Yeah, congratulations. I wish him the best and hoping and. Looking forward to seeing him bring all these qualities in him that you have talked about to bear on the governance in Ekiti State. So, congratulations.
Just once again, we say congratulations to Ojawan, that's Olufemi Joshua Juluju, and Yinka Oyebode, the new Chief Press Secretary to the Governor of Ekiti State. Moving on, as peace gradually returns to Borno states, one way to secure the future of the Northeast states is massive investment in education. The governor, Professor Babagana Zulum, is focused on this. As part of such efforts, Governor Zulum has flagged off a 300 million naira scholarship scheme in the states. The scholarship is in support of 300 orphans whose parents died as volunteers under the Civil Joint Task Force, vigilantes and hunters who fought Boko Haram and ISWAP along with the military. According to the governor, the money is set aside to cover all education needs in the 300 orphans throughout their basic education level before further education. Jide, this is novel because we can't use hopelessness to put on another hopeless situation. We have kids that they've lost their parents, and that's so unfortunate. Some of them civilian JTF, some of them people fighting at the war front, and these kids, I saw you with some of these orphans. So for Governor Zulu to say 300 million naira dedicated to these kids is something that it will go a long way.
You see, when you go to Borno State, some of the best schools were set up for orphans. You go to some schools in Borno State, all the students you find there are orphans. It takes a very strong will to not break down when you see some of those children. Because when I went to an orphanage that Azov is an international group in Borno State. They are running the orphanage. I went there I saw girls as young as 5 years, you know, and they were teaching them, just teaching them, and they are very sharp. You saw that video, you know, because they made a presentation for me. Very sharp, very brilliant. And I will ask them, you, where are you from? They will mention the local government. Mother gone, father gone. Oh, we'll talk to another one. No parents at all. So this is the situation.
And we know the impact of parental love.
Yes,
Right.
they don't even know what it feels like. How can a 5-year-old girl, maybe she was orphaned like 2 years before, what can that one say about parentage? She didn't grow up long enough to know her parents. And you see them, you know, oblivious of their surroundings, oblivious of what's going on.
The challenges ahead.
Look at, I interviewed the head boy of a new school that President Buhari opened the last time I went to Borno State. Both the head boy and the head girl, I interviewed them. They are both orphans from different local governments. I mean, what the Boko Haram insurgency, the
calamity
that it has brought on our people, you can't explain it.
It's when you go close to that axis that you know that,
That's when you feel the extent of the problem. Okay, today we are happy that Boko Haram does not exist inside Maiduguri anymore. Who did it? It's the civilian JTF. It wasn't the army that pushed them out of the municipal. It was the civilian JTF. The boys just came together. They said, look, these boys who are terrorizing us, we know all their houses.
they are collaborators too.
They started going inside, went inside their houses one after another. That was how Boko Haram fighters fled into Sambisa. They used to kill people inside the city. Remember when Goodluck Jonathan went to do a town hall? Some of the people who spoke at that event were eventually murdered because they were present. They were in the city. They were building a new palace for the Shehu. In the night, Boko Haram fighters came and slaughtered the workers right in the heart of the city. They were doing such killings before these boys came together and said, no more. So they started going to their houses one after the other. That was how they chased them out of the town.
You understand the terrain.
No, of course, they know them. It's not that we grew up together, but you then chose to fall by the wayside. Of course, I know what to stand for. We argue. I know that you've made up your mind to be killing people. So they identified them, and they were going to the houses one after another. That was how they were chased out of Maiduguri. So today, the boys who have been killed, civilian JTF that have been killed, they are in excess of 700. And they too, they have families, they have loved ones. So this is a good initiative by this governor to say 300 orphans. When you see their children, see how many they are, you know, and I'm sure this is just the first phase.
Yes.
You know the extent to which they have paid with their lives.
Education is so strategic in a place like this, where children grow up that they are just like layabouts, and they are recruited because the idle hand is the devil's workshop, and you just see them recruiting people that jobless students. But in a situation where these ones, they are educated, they know they are left from right, it will be very difficult to indoctrinate them.
Yeah, and that's why the governor's efforts should be commended, really. And I also want to point out the fact that education in Borno State is free. So if the governor gives 300 million naira scholarship, it is not for them to go to primary school or secondary school. I guess that money is meant for the parents to be able to buy them school uniforms when they tear, to buy their shoes and all of that, to make them look good, and probably get meals, you know, going to school. So which makes the efforts of the governor commendable. But I always say that probably because the governor himself is an educationist, he puts the right premium on education, because this is not the first time that is taking care of, emphasizing and prioritizing education, the education of these people, from even the normal schools that are in the place. You know that this man understands the value of education. You can imagine these orphans, those who have parents are being recruited. So you cannot imagine the ones who don't even have anybody that can protect them or lead them or anything. So these ones will have been easy recruits for these terrorists. But with this, and the fact that even the mothers also are empowered, because he also gave, I think, another 15 million naira to the mothers, to the
bags of rice.
And so at least that will help to, take care of these children. It's so sad. When I even saw that figure of 300 orphans, I mean, you showed that, because 300 children orphaned.
Yeah,
it shows, it gives you an idea.
But the schools that they have, they're talking about thousands of students, and these are orphans.
Thousands.
Mega schools.
Yes,
the people are there are just orphans.
All of them.
Yes.
So these ones are just children of civilians.
Because for security reasons, a lot of the schools in those distant local governments have shut down.
Okay.
Yes.
So they bring
combined
them,
everything
yes,
in
to which was the mistake that was made during the Chibok era. Perhaps if they had been, in fact, I'm convinced, not perhaps, if they had been brought to Maiduguri, to write that exam, they would not have died. Yeah. So now they've not made that mistake since that time. You see a school, a unity school meant for Monguno. They relocated them to the state capital. They put them in the Muhammadu Buhari Academy. That is where they are using as their school. Because to say they should go to Monguno now,
it's like sending them to
everyone the way they will kidnap all of them. So it's I'm happy that this sends a message that, look, these people are not forgotten. I was there's a JTF leader in a place called Ganze local government. He had been giving Boko Haram so much problem, giving them so much problem. You know what they did? They waited. Once it was night time, they stormed the area. They dressed like normal people, and they were asking for the house of the guy. I think they eventually got somebody at gunpoint to take them to his house. They slaughtered him like a ram. I even have his picture. I sent his picture to the producer. They slaughtered him like a ram. These are the kind of sacrifices that these people are making. In Maiduguri, when I'm traveling through communities, the first set of people to check a vehicle is usually the civilian JTF. It is when the thing is above their power, you now see soldiers coming in. And they also they join soldiers in operations. You see them sometimes jubilating together when they win. So those boys made up their minds to lay down their lives. See, this is the Ganze commander of civilian JTF. He was slaughtered in his house. He was slaughtered in his house. They came. They killed so many of them like that. If you are giving them problem, they will wait. They will take their time and take you out. And they've killed many hunters too. Because they fear these guys, because a lot of them too have juju. So they fear them.
The locals.
They fear them. Those boys know them very well. So they fear them and they see them as a big threat. So to remember them in the way the governor has done, I think the governor deserves a lot of commendation. He has always shown that he's a man for the rest of us. He has always shown that he's a man for the people. Yes, because he too had a very humble background. He had to drive taxi here in Lagos to pay for his education. And he schooled here at UI. So he had to drive taxi. He had a humble background. So the governor is not the sort of person who will easily forget that your people are suffering. You see them, Governor Zulum can stand for 3 hours just distributing millions of naira to people. He's not going to outsource it. Those women, they will line up, you will be giving them money one after another. At the end of the day, you hear that he distributed more than 50 million naira cash or even 100 million. So that's what he do. He's passionate about it. He's happy. And when he sees that you are setting the right example, he's happy to reward you. Look at the Igbo woman.
Yes.
Naturally, she can't rise. She was a primary school teacher. She can't rise to be head teacher. But he promoted her to assistant head teacher.
Because of
her diligence.
Diligence.
They said the woman will get to the school before 7 a.m. She will get there every day. That's her. One day God said, look,
I'm going to reward you.
I'm going to reward you for all of this industry. And the governor made that his usual surprise. I just found the woman at work. I said, who are you? Then the woman introduced herself.
Not even now, sir.
She had been in that school for more than 10 years. I think 15 years or so, or more. 25 years. One school. Just teaching. So, and the governor rewarded. So, this is the sort of thing that I want our leaders to do. And that's why the governor is very...
And using education as a tool is a very good way, you know, to de-radicalize these people, to enlighten them, and to, you know, to tell them that, look, nobody can come and tell you that when you kill yourself or you blow yourself in the explosion,
the truth is that
you go and meet 12 virgins.
Education is very vital in
yes,
fighting
it will just liberate your mind.
Yeah, because it's what you believe in that determines what you do, and your environment is very important.
It is the doctrine that they are giving to these people, telling them all sorts of stories. That's why you see suicide bombers.
They are impressionable. They are impressionable. You can tell them anything that we just go in. So it's where you actually direct them. Using education as a tool, you are directing them to the right way. And definitely, if they are able to think right, they will be able to analyze situations. Even if you come to them, they will be able to take decisions.
Somebody who has maybe knowledge that is inferior to your own come and be telling you lies.
I will not see 12 virgins, and after this...
He has not been there before. He's telling you stories about the place. He too is reluctant to go there.
If you one thing about terrorist leaders, if you see when the Osama bin Laden, when the account that was given before he was killed, and even this man in Iraq.
Who wants to die?
No, they don't. They make themselves very comfortable.
Yes.
So their story, they will leave their story there.
Ahmad is calling us. Thank you for joining us.
Good day, Rayo.
Yes, Ahmad.
Please, I would like to talk about that Governor Shulum.
Go ahead.
Look, if you guys present that guy in APC as a presidential candidate, wallahi, everybody will vote for him.
They've not presented him.
We are not politicians.
No political party has presented him now.
Why are you saying
that
you guys
that
as if we are
governor
APC? What's our business with who they produce as their candidate?
No political party.
We don't belong to any party. We don't belong. We don't even vote. On election day, we will be doing our work. I will be in the studio, he will be on the field. We don't care who is president. So by using the word "if you people," you are assuming that I am Tinubu or that he is the chairman of the APC national chairman. We have no hand in who they choose. It's not our business now. Why do you people see us as part of APC? What's our own APC?
Well, I understand what you're trying to say. He's just trying to say.
He's just trying to actually say that he has the quality.
You shouldn't have used we. Do you know, it's the same thing that some of the idle boys on social media say. They still say APC my party. APC my party. They call it my party. And I'm like, if it's truly my party, and I like the party the way they are saying, I won't be criticizing the government the way I do. These people don't reason. I don't understand. You say your party. That's how they refer to me. And to imagine that on a day that I've seen a lot of such silly write-ups, somebody is using we. That if you people, are we the ones choosing leaders for APC?
Well, wait till 2027. Governor Zulu might be eligible that time. All right. Just when we are becoming oblivious of mass abduction of children, another episode has hit us from Katsina State's parents in rural communities of Faskari local government area of the northwest states are pleading with government to rescue their children from their captors after bandits abducted 39 of them working on a farm. According to reports, the bandits in large numbers surrounded a farm on Sunday where a number of people, including boys and girls, were working and abducted about 40 of them. Today, this abduction still in Katsina State. I thought the activities of these bandits have been reduced considerably. For you to abduct...
Even if it's reduced, it has not stopped. You can see that the governors have had to even close some highways, had to ban any form of gathering in some local government, but they are still killing people. This thing has not stopped. The unfortunate thing is that a lot of these things don't get reported. If all of the banditry gets reported, Nigerians will be shocked. A lot of these things are still happening. Yes, we made progress in some areas. What you find now, even in Katsina, is that some local governments where we used to have issues, like Dusima, is coming down. Kankara, you hardly hear of such occurrences anymore. And that was where they picked those children that time, you know? So some of those local governments, we are seeing some level of peace, you know? But they are moving to new ones. Musawa local government, they are going to Musawa now, to which, where they are kidnapping more and more people there. It's like when they face the heat in some areas, places where they were not known to be kidnapping people, they are going to such places. So, Safana, we have improvement. We can report improvement in Safana local government. But right now, Jibia, Basari, Faskari, they are still under attack from bandits. And there's a need to stem the tide of banditry in Matazu and Musawa that I mentioned earlier. So it's still there. It's still there. We just hope that government will find a way to free those children that are in their hands, because a lot of the elderly people escaped, but the children could not escape. And they're asking for 30 million. In such rural communities, where will they find the money?
I'm telling you.
Well, I have an opinion about even the reduction that Babajide is talking about. For example, in the Kankara LG that you talked about, the local government boss or one of the traditional rulers also said that they actually pay bandits before they could go to their farms. So they levy them and they pay
to guarantee peace.
To guarantee peace before they can now go and harvest their produce. So who knows? Maybe that is the arrangement
maybe that's
that is in place. That is why we are not getting. Because in this particular place also, you know, they told the owner of the farm that you should pay 3 million naira before you could harvest the produce of that farm. And he gave them 1 million naira, promising that he will give them the remaining 2 million. Yet they went there. And it was because those ones paid them 1 million that they now recruited these children.
When they are not federal inland revenue service or local government revenue.
Exactly. And they now said that, in fact, they were expecting to see the owner or the supervisor, that those were their targets. And since they didn't find them, they now abducted these children. It's so sad that children that should ordinarily be protected are the ones that will find them.
Be in school.
They should be in school. They are the ones who find on farms doing labor jobs. That is so sad. And now these are the children that are being kidnapped. You should know that for those children to be on that farm, their parents must be very poor. So where would they get 30 million naira from? The only help that these children could get now is from the government, the state government. So we need to ask the state government, will the state government be ready to just rescue these ones, because we know that the parents cannot cough out the 30 million naira. Where would they get it from? And another question is, if the state government brings out 30 million naira to free them, how do we ensure that there is not going to be a repeat, because the money will be sweet in their mouth and they will want to collect more and more and more. So it's a very terrible situation.
We take this breather. When we come back, we'll talk more. It's still journalist Hangout. We'll be right back after this message.
Nigeria now we country, APC not the party, now one man be a choice. Nigeria now we country, APC not the party, now one man be a choice. Who be the president we need? Who be the president we go for?
People of Nigeria don't talk, oh. Them say na Asiwaju Bola Tinubu them want as president of Nigeria.
Our country people get many reasons we make them all agree, say na Asiwaju Bola Tinubu them choose for this president election.
Yes, oh. Bola Tinubu na man we sabi. Anything we him put in hand, he dey work wella.
He do better work for Lagos State when he be governor. Till today, Lagos people still they enjoy from all the better things we jaburata for Lagos. People of Nigeria, he good to make we vote for who sabi.
As it can't be so, make we all come out for election day and vote Bola Ahmed Tinubu as president of Nigeria.
Vote Senator Kashim Shettima as the vice president. Vote APC, the party with the broom.
Who be the president we go for? Bola Tinubu.
This blessing be yours forever to keep a calm and peaceful sleep.
Removes mosquitoes so you can sleep a calm and peaceful sleep. Good night, Electric.
This is the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. Again, a lot of progress also has been made here. We're just around the toll gate in Ibadan, on the Ibadan side. Again, we are suffering delays right now. The Oyo State government is building a drainage channel across the road. So we're having difficulties. The contractor has slowed down. We have slowed down also because we don't want to finish the road, then they cut it again to build drainage. On the Lagos end, we are working on the last 6 kilometers into Lagos. That is a very, very highly densely populated area. We left it for the last because we knew it would be the most difficult. So again, bear with us. We are hoping that very soon there will be relief there.
This message is brought to you from the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Thank you for staying with us. In case you're just joining us, you're right on time for Journalist Hangout. We're reaching you live from TVC News. As we edge closer to the 2023 presidential election, the candidates are intensifying efforts to woo more voters. In this regard, the presidential candidate of the All Progressive Congress, APC, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has met with business leaders, investors, and captains of industries to present his economic agenda and manifesto for the country. At the session, attended by industrialists, business executives, entrepreneurs, and foreign investors, Tinubu promised to boost industrialization and grow the GDP to a double-digit figure. Let's share the story by TVC News business editor Todulokpe Okujobi with you.
The business community was fully represented with the president of Dangote Group, Mr. Aliko Dangote, Mr. Jimovia, chairman Zenith Bank, chairman Harris Holding, Mr. Tony Elumelu, former chief executive of Access Bank, Mr. Herbert Wigwe, and other leaders representing sectoral groups operating in the country. Political associates, party leaders, state governors, former and serving senators and lawmakers, senior officers of the campaign council were also in attendance. The APC presidential candidate, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, laid out his action plan before the business leaders and solicited for their support. He believes that a viable economy requires collaboration between political and business leaders.
We must target, and we will, I assure you, target growth at very least. We must achieve GDP growth of minimum 6%, if not 10% per annum. Promote agriculture. We shall continue to press reforms in the sector that will increase productivity, improve farm incomes while lowering food prices, and bring enough food to the table of ordinary people. Power. Nigeria, I am determined. They are Nigerians. I am determined, I repeat, to give you the affordable and reliable power you need to drive your businesses in a way that lifts the entire economy and ordinary person.
For the vice presidential candidate of the party, the APC team is ready to revive dead industries, promote agriculture, provide power, produce and use made in Nigerian goods, build infrastructure, and most importantly, improve the country's security situation.
That insecurity is a major deterrent of private enterprises and investments, not to talk of the trade to life and livelihoods. That is why we plan to adopt a proactive and intelligence-driven approach to addressing the nation's security challenges. These will include bolstering security forces in numbers, training, equipment, salaries, and welfare. In the last 8 years, our defense budget has increased from 400 billion naira to 1.2 trillion naira per annum. In similar vein, our administration is prepared to make the necessary further investments in order to significantly reduce the nation's security threats. On the other topical matter of the economy, our target is rightly encapsulated growth within a couple of years.
At that time, we all, through his leadership, also created the Lagos Lacete document, which was a sectoral dissection of what the economy and the economics of Lagos should be for the next 5 to 10 years. You will recall also that it was also during his time that we usually have a regular interactive session with the organized private sector. And you also recall that during his time, several firsts were recorded.
The event also featured a panel session largely made up of young Nigerians who brought their minds intelligently on the developmental plan of the APC, which according to them is highly achievable. Tolulope Ogunjobi, TVC News, Lagos.
Yeah, Ashwaju looking confident, younger, and I was working in that suit. And the deputy, Senator Shetima, getting it right.
In terms of the suit.
Yes.
Yes, I think Ashwaju looks way better in a pair of suits. I saw the pictures yesterday. I said, I think this man should dress more in a pair of suits because he was looking really good. And Shetima's suit for yesterday was really very sharp. Yep. You will see that nobody will talk about that one now. And the tie too was a very good one. Not like the very wide tie that he wore the other time. I think generally they got this one right.
Yeah,
and you see the creme de la creme of the business society were present. You know, in a way, I try to convey that message clearly. That look, I mean well, and I have your interest at heart. Talking to the business people,
that the people
that movers and shakers of business in our country, the biggest of them were here. So it's like a man who knows what he's doing, and he knows the audience to get his message across to.
Yes.
That is what we saw yesterday. So you see that generally, both in terms of his speech and the way the event was organized, they got it right. When you get it right, you see that your traducers will have little or nothing to say. I'm yet to read some funny stuff, the sort of funny stuff that we saw earlier on social media. You know, once you leave little or no room for error, you shut up the naysayers. And that's what we saw yesterday. They got it right in every way. They got it right. And I'm sure that the success of yesterday will propel them to continue to get better.
I think he has done well by meeting the members of the organized private sector. And the fact that he even did it ahead of his opponents, I think that's a plus for him. Also, because the economy is very key. As a matter of fact, the problems we are having now, the Nigeria is in economic shambles, if we may put it that way. And he also touched on insecurity. And for me, what came out for me in that summit is the fact that he identified the areas that he wants to intervene in, and that is key for me. He talked about the reviving dead industries. He talked about promoting agriculture. He talked about providing power, producing and encouraging the use of made in Nigeria goods, building infrastructure, and improving on the country's security. I think these are specifics. They are major specifics. So now I expect that the organized private sector, I expect them to now interrogate these candidates on what the steps they are going to take to achieve all the points, all the areas that have been highlighted. And doing that, I think, is a good one.
All right. Okay, joining us via Zoom for more insights on this is the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Public Communication, Ajuri Ngilale, who is also the Assistant Principal Spokesperson, Tinubu Shetima Presidential Campaign Council. Thank you for joining us, Ajuri.
Always a great privilege to be with you, my colleagues. Good evening to you and good evening to our esteemed viewers.
Thank you.
Yes, Ajuri, what do you make of the meeting that the candidates of the All Progressive Congress had with the business sector yesterday?
Well, I think it really speaks to the seriousness with which the private sector in this country is, taking and with the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, His Excellency Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. At the end of the day, while he hosted the creme de la creme of the private sector of this country and other international partners, other candidates are junketing overseas. Look, charity starts at home. It's important that we understand not just what the issues are, but that we have a very clear and concise plan to deal with those issues. One of the things that I think stood out is the fact that it's going to come down to a credibility question in the end. You're right that all candidates will have their plans, even though one of the three candidates that people talk about is yet to release a manifesto. The credibility question comes in when you ask the fundamental question. You're presenting a plan, right? Have you shown the capacity at any time in your history, whether it's in the public service or in the private sector, of actually being able to perform what you have said that you will do? Out of the three major candidates, we know that there's only one candidate that has done that verifiably, not only having engaged excellently at the heights of the private sector in Mobile and in private endeavors, private business, but also obviously with transforming Lagos State from being a poor, crime-infested state to being one of the leading economies on the continent as a state, not even a country. And then, of course, we all know the kind of the level of security that has now been ascertained in Lagos State as a result of the interventions brought by the master plan of the candidate. So, Yes.
Let's move away from the event of yesterday and talk about his manifesto, the presidential candidate's manifesto. You've been privileged to go through it. What are the big takeaways from that manifesto that you have gone through?
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Babajide. Of course, that's the crux of the matter as the manifesto. There are a number of things that I think are very important to note. You've mentioned the issue of security. I think one of the major interventions, as elucidated by our manifesto, is the fact that you're going to have increased specialization within the branches of our armed forces to deal with the very specific and dynamic threats that our country is facing today. One example of that is going to be the establishment of forest guards. These are going to be guards that are going to be specifically equipped, not just with communications equipment, but also with the armament and the protective and protective equipment, as well as the transportation, materials, equipments that they will need, vehicles that they will need to be able to traverse the unique landscapes of our forests across the country, where you have bandits obviously operating, where you have criminal gangs engaging in hostage taking and the like. It's now gone to a stage where we have, in terms of our conventional military outfits, we have done a lot of upgradation within the President Muhammadu Buhari's administration in terms of armament and increasing our presence across the country. We've done a lot on that in that regard. But now the question is, how can we deepen those reforms? How can we now tailor the interventions we're making to the unique threats we're facing? And that is what Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is bringing to bear in the manifesto. In addition to that, we have to now be thinking of the welfare of the families. Look, it's not enough of thinking just of the welfare of the soldiers and the professionals in our military, but also when the soldiers, whether they're living or whether they have paid the ultimate sacrifice for the country, what are we going to be able to do now to establish the benefits for the families that are required to see abroad? One of the things that His Excellency Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, upon his assumption of office, a set of new benefits that will be blanket for all military families where a loss has occurred, especially where the children, the widows will never have to be thinking of how they're going to cater for their children. Scholarships will be made available for the children of our fallen heroes and other benefits and entitlements to keep families going even beyond the service period of their loved ones. These are some of the interventions we're making. There are so many others. Now, in terms of the economy, which of course is a major issue in the country today, I think it would take me 3 days to go through everything, but I'm going to do my best to summarize. On the issue of agriculture, one of the major interventions that His Excellency Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is bringing to bear within his manifesto, where he has the credibility to also say that he will prove what he's saying, is in agriculture, where he's going to put in place, he's going to establish commodity boards across this country, where there's going to be a fixed minimum price of key staple items, such as wheat, cocoa, rice, and many other staples, to ensure that our local farmers, our local producers, are able to have a steady baseline of what those commodities are going to sell for in the Nigerian market, to ensure that not only are they able to make their profits, but that we don't have a situation where Nigerian producers are sending they're taking the incentives from government to produce, and then they're now sending the produce across the border because they're able to get more money from neighboring countries. Now we're going to protect our farmers as well as our consumers with these commodity boards. In addition to that, he's going to establish, in collaboration with the state and local governments of this country, new storage grain reserves and storage facilities. We know that a major loss, we're talking of up to a third right now, of our total agricultural production in this country by a small scale and medium scale and large scale farmers is currently lost as a result of the lack of storage.
Okay, Ajuri, just hold on there. Ajuri, Just hold on there. Let me pay these bills. When we come back, we'll talk more.
Thank you.
Afternoon, sir. Please, I need a room to rent in your house.
Okay, where do you work?
I'm a nurse.
That means you won't owe me rent. Congratulations, young lady. You have yourself a house.
Well, thank you so much, sir. So, how much is the rent?
90,000 naira. Oh, but wait, where are you from?
I am from Akamata.
Akamata what? Akamata in my house? If you know how you got into my house, please get out right away. My spirit and that of Akamata people don't have anything to do together.
Sir, what have I done?
Your people from Akamata are known for bad things. That is what they represent, and you can't live in my house. Just get out right away.
What's going on?
Leave my house, young lady. Yes, our differences extend to our languages, culture, food, and even belief. But we are bound together by the cord of love. With one heart, with one voice, we will make Nigeria a hub of greatness, a place where the people live as one.
This message is brought to you from the Center for Democracy and Development, CDD, with support from the UK government.
Showing up in style inspires great confidence. IVM G5T appeals to class.
Time is of the essence. With IVM Kappa, business and meetings are always on the go.
Fun time with the family. Thank you to IVM Kingdom. IVM Kara always stealing the show. Isn't she beautiful? Influence defines a great leader. IVM Seriki is Africa's commute king. Strong, reliable, and durable. With the concept of regionalization, Innocent Vehicle is committed to satisfying its customers with producing their everyday dream cars.
IVM, pride of African roots.
Our country one better. Our country one better. Who go do one for us? Papa Tokambo, Mama Tokambo, for a better Nigeria. Good life uncle. Now you we want to. Now you we need oh.
Yes, so people of Nigeria, they jolly for the better we want shele for we country. So as they ready to vote Asiwaju Bola Tinubu as the next president of Nigeria, our people don't look the matter well. Say na only Bola Tinubu don't do what everybody fit see. Now him get the experience where he go fit use take make our country better, make life sweet for we and our picking them. Bola Tinubu don't gather better plan to chase down war for we youth, better school, the security of lives and property, unity and peace for all we country people of Nigeria. For this and many other better things when in don't vocalize, it good make we all vote Asiwaju Bola Tinubu for president of Nigeria. Vote Kashif Shettima as vice president. Vote APC, the party where show broom.
Now you we need oh.
Thank you, first. That's so. I still have the senior special assistant to the president at Mr. Ajuri Ngilale. Ajuri, you were talking about the economy in the blueprint of Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Absolutely. So I was just mentioning the introduction. A big part of our manifesto in agriculture is the introduction of working with state governments of large-scale storage facilities for grain reserves to ensure the stability of pricing of food commodities across the nation, while also ensuring that we drastically minimize the amount of loss we have from our local producers. Right now, we have about a third of local production being lost to food being spoiled on its way from farm to processing plants, or even farm directly to markets. And this is a major problem. So if we can get mass refrigeration facilities, storage grain reserves, and the like, that's going to not only mitigate those losses, meaning more earnings for our farmers, more wealth within our economy, but it's also going to mean that we're going to have stable pricing of our food items at a time of obviously global economic hardship as it relates to the availability of food. Now, with that said, the other major aspects in terms of where the Nigerian consumer is really going to benefit from the unique policy interventions that will be brought by His Excellency Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu are in the critical areas of housing and education.
if you look at the housing document, that housing policy that he's bringing to bear, one of the major things that he has emphasized, not just today that he's running for president, but even as a national leader of the party when he was advising President Muhammadu Buhari, one of the things he emphasized is that we must now have a mass credit credit system for Nigerian consumers, where Nigerians can get access to cheap and affordable credit for things like housing, for things like automobile purchasing, for things like expensive, domestic appliances like refrigerators and the like, so that the average Nigerian does not have to shell out money that they simply don't have upfront, and all of that, which obviously has multiplying effect on corrupt practice and enhancing motivation for corrupt practice, because people can't afford these things on their salary here as a result, because more people will be included in it. So now on the housing policy, one of the things he's going to do is he's saying we're going to go to the National Assembly and we're going to reform the current Land Use Act in collaboration with state and local governments to streamline the process of availing land to developers across the country. So you will not have a different process in Rivers State from what you have in Lagos State, from what you have in Kano State. Nationwide, it will not be state by state now. It will be a national standard in collaboration with the states for how you access land, the cost of land, and all of that processing streamlined so that developers will now have access to the land affordably and efficiently. And then on top of that, most importantly, is that we're going to work with the Central Bank of Nigeria to be able to avail affordable credit to, avail tax incentives as well as other incentives around monetary policy ratios, interbank settlement offers, and the like, to be able to incentivize banks to lend to Nigerian consumers for housing mortgages. So it's one thing to make sure that land is available for developers to be able to develop. On the second leg, the second level of that, we're telling the developers that we're going to give you tax incentives if you devote the land that you want to develop for housing to social housing. That is housing for poor Nigerians, housing for middle-income Nigerians, vulnerable Nigerians. The more housing developments you do for that strata of society, the poor and the middle class, we as a government are going to incentivize you with tax breaks, tax credits, and rebates. And that's the way to go to look out for the ordinary Nigerian in terms of housing. So on the third level, finally, I've mentioned the first level.
Yes, I agree.
The second,
we could go on and on. But
no, I'm sure you are certainly going to be back.
Definitely.
You are certainly going to be back,
Ajuri, don't worry, we'll bring you back.
We'll bring you back. We promise you, because we have just stoked your fire, by today's program. We have merely provoked you. And just when you are getting into your elements.
Please, I beg you, need to give us more time. People need to understand.
No, you will get time. No worry. You will get time.
Well, I listened to Bola Ahmed Tinubu talking about removing subsidy. That's one hydra-headed. You have to take a decision on subsidy. Yeah. And I'm looking forward to a government that will stop this embarrassment happening between the dollar and the naira.
Yes, it has to be a gradual thing. It has to be when the economy is well managed and we get the fiscal policies right as well, we will get there. We'll certainly get there. It's not a day's job. If anybody promises you it will be easy, that person is a liar from the pit of hell. It's going to be tough.
It took years to get to this level.
But the kind of leader Nigeria needs is a leader that is prepared to take tough decisions, no matter whose hawks is God.
As it was. Busy?
Yeah, and I also want to hear more about the specifics concerning the education sector, particularly at the higher education level. Yeah, so when it comes back, I will appreciate if we can dwell more on that.
Well, thank Olabisi Deji for today. Thank you for your contribution, and also thank Ajuri Ngilale. We'll definitely bring you back. BKO, definitely we'll do for a Sunday. Yes. We have more time to.
Yes, certainly. And some of the other people in the strategy team who have a lot to say. DA is back.
Okay.
And I'm sure it will be at our beck and call.
Yes, we have over 120 minutes. I'll be 120 minutes, over 1 hour to do. That's our offering today. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can watch the repeat broadcast tonight at 11 p.m. Join us this Sunday for Journalist Hangout on Sunday from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. We're on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Ayodele Ozubaku. Saying bye for now and God bless Nigeria.
The moment. Instant breaking news from all over the globe. Live streaming of your favorite programs delivered directly to you. Watch anytime from anywhere on your mobile or smart device.